Test.
The Lord be with you. And also with you. Let us pray. I want to offer two collects for this morning, one for this annual meeting, and the second for the ongoing process of electing a new bishop coadjutor for the diocese. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel in St. Alfred's annual meeting for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Almighty God, giver of every good gift, look graciously on your church, and so guide the minds of those who shall choose a bishop for this diocese, that we may receive a faithful pastor who will care for your people and equip us for our ministries. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. I want to officially call the 59th annual meeting of St. Alfred's Episcopal Church in Palm Harbor, Florida to order.
And we will appoint Barb Kunkel to be the secretary of the annual meeting.
Welcome to all of you who are here in person. Thank you for your presence, for your attention, for all that you do for the good of God's people and for the building up of this parish. And welcome to all of you who are tuning in from home. We thank you for your presence and give thanks for the technology that enables us to connect with you through our broadcast. To make the connection more real for those who are watching virtually from home, there are two ways that you can offer either comments or questions. You can send comments or questions via email to info@stalfreds.net. That's info at stalfreds, STALFREDS.net. Or you can use Facebook Live if you have access to that, and in the comment section there, make a comment or ask a question. Sue Broward will be monitoring both Facebook Live and that email, and will forward any questions or comments from our virtual congregation to us here at the head table. So we thank you for your participation in that way. At this time, we want to offer an opportunity for the approval of last year's minutes. We had sought any additions or corrections to those minutes, and so need a vote of the annual meeting to approve the minutes as amended for the 2021 annual meeting.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Can I get a second by Joyce Oldmixon? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all. At this point, I'm going to ask Dee Dee Herndon, our junior warden, outgoing junior warden, and one of the members of the nominating committee to report on the elections for the incoming vestry members.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The nominating committee is composed of the outgoing vestry members, so myself, Sue Broward, and Scott Garrett, our current senior warden, whose term was also expiring. However, Scott had asked that he be considered as a nominee for re-election. And as Father Peter had stated in his banner article of January 22nd and 23rd, normally 1 year is to pass between terms on the vestry. However, given Scott's involvement in our pipe organ project and the creation of the Center for Music and the Arts, the vestry felt this continuity was justified. So on December 18th, our vestry approved by unanimous vote to approve an exception to our bylaws and allow Scott to stand for election for a second consecutive term. Since early November, Sue Broward and myself approached a number of parishioners to run for the election as new vestry members. We had a few who did turn us down. However, in an early December blast email, we did publish our list of 3 nominees and asked for anyone who would like to be considered for nomination to please let myself or Sue or Father Peter know so we could properly vet them. Just for information purposes, to be able to run for vestry, you have to be enrolled in our parish registry, active in worship and financial support, and at least 18 years of age. So that being said, I am delighted to present our 3 nominees for the 3 open positions. Ginny Ingram, I see Ginny back there.
Ginny, can you stand, please? Her picture has been in the banner for the last several weeks, along with her bio, so thank you for that.
Jeanette McCabe.
Jeanette.
And Scott Garrett. So also, if there's anyone who would like to be considered, we will take nominations from the floor. So if anybody would like to do that, please step forward. All right, since there are none, we will vote by acclamation and nominate Ginny Ingram, Jeanette McCabe, and Scott Garrett to our vestry for 2022 through the 2024 year.
Our thanks to Dee Dee and to Sue Broward for their work on the nominating committee, and we will thank them a little bit later in the annual meeting for their work on the vestry and all that they do for St. Alfred's. So thank you, Dee Dee. At this time, I want to turn it over to our treasurer, Hannah Westcott, for a financial report of 2021's numbers, as well as the upcoming year's budget.
Sorry. People of St. Alfred's, again this year I was honored to serve as your treasurer. I want you to know I do not take this responsibility lightly, and I am humbled by your trust. We ended the year 2020 on a solid financial ground and entered 2021 with a balanced budget. To achieve the balance, we earmarked $24,000 from our money market account as operating reserves. Our finance team for 2021 identified 3 financial goals, and these goals were endorsed by the vestry. First, we decided to reinvest the dividends earned from the Diocesan Endowment Management Program, the DEMP, rather than to take the distributions. For 2021, we reinvested approximately $18,000 into the endowment fund. And as of quarter 3, 2021, the account balance was $532,675,089. Our second goal was to start an initiative to pay down our mortgage. This past July, we were able to make a payment of $7,000 to the mortgage principal. Our mortgage balance at the end of 2021 was $417,000 plus, and we currently have $4,050 in the mortgage pay down account. When that amount reaches $5,000, we'll make another payment to principal. If you're interested in giving to this fund, you can indicate mortgage paydown on the memo line of your check or in the drop-down menu of the online giving form. Our third goal was to not have to access the $24,000 held in operating reserves. Unfortunately, this goal was not realized. It's important to remember that when we created the budget for 2021, we hoped we'd be fully back to normal with our services and our fellowship activities. It was not to be. So at the end of the day, our anticipated revenues from pledges, non-pledge gifts, plate offerings, etc., was under by about $37,000. Thanks be to God, we started the year with a robust balance in that money market fund because we needed it. In June, we transferred $19,200 to pay for new air conditioner units in the church. And in December, we transferred another $7,500 to augment $7,000 from the capital fund for another 2 units in Memorial Hall. That totals $26,700 from the money market fund that we used this year for capital expenses. Between July and the end of the year, we were required to transfer a total of $35,000 to cover our operating expenses, $11,000 more than we had earmarked in the budget. That's a total of $61,700 released from the money market in 2021. We were blessed to have this money in reserve, and we ended the year with a balance of $86,796 in the account. I feel it's important to remind everyone of the positive impact of ongoing lease income and utility share from Plato Academy. This guaranteed monthly amount is helpful in assuring that we can meet our financial obligations. Now on to 2022, and we have some financial goals for this coming year. We'd like to continue the mortgage paydown initiative and reduce the principal before it comes time to refinance in 2024. We'd also like to replenish the money market fund Ideally, we'd like to have about $150,000 in this account, which is approximately 4 months of operating expenses. In 2022, our DEMP distribution is being deposited into the money market. Though it shows on the budget as an income line, our goal is to not have to access this money and to be able to reinvest again in 2023. And finally, we'd like to replenish the capital fund. Our beloved church buildings require upkeep and maintenance. We'd like that account to have a balance of at least $25,000. The current balance is less than $3,000. Again, if any of these projects are near and dear to you, you can always make an extra contribution simply by making your wish known in the memo line of your check. We will enter 2022 with a budget shortfall. To date, we have 79 pledges for a total of $268,048. And we have received a generous stock donation to the operating fund in the amount of $48,000. This gift will be held as operating reserves in the money market until it's needed. That way we can get a little interest on it. We're hopeful that in 2022 we will see more members return to in-person worship, an increase in new members and visitors, and that the formation of the Center for Music and the Arts will stimulate a renewed interest in St. Alfred's throughout the wider community. The dedication of the St. Alfred's community continues to amaze me. You faithfully pay your pledges and generously give of your time and money to support projects beyond your pledges, such as outreach and Alfred's Angels, and not even to mention the incredible support of the Organ Fund. Our financial bottom line is that St. Alfred's requires $10,000 a week to meet our expenses. Our current projected budget shortfall is $13,714. With our 79 pledging units, that's a gift of just $3.50 more per unit per week to make up the difference. If you have not already made a pledge for 2022, it's not too late. Please consider doing so. This commitment, no matter how great or small, enables the financial team to better manage the monthly operations and to plan our outreach to the community. Pledge cards are available in the narthex or the church office. We are St. Alfred's. This is our church home, so it is up to us, with God's help, to meet these goals and to make all these good things happen. In conclusion, I'd like to thank the finance team, the budget committee, and all who assisted with the diocesan audit this year. The expertise and experience of these folks is amazing. And I have a very special thank you to our counters group, who faithfully show up every Monday morning to count and process our weekly offerings. I encourage you as members of St. Alfred's to inquire about any aspect of the church's finances at any time. If you have a particular interest in our church's finances or expertise in financial areas, please let us know. We would love to have you participate on the finance team, the audit, or the budget committees. Thank you. And now our 2022 budget. You all have received a copy of the digest version, which just kind of breaks things down in an easy to understand format. If you'd like to see the larger, more detailed budget, let me know and I'll get you a copy. When we're planning and creating the budget for the coming year, Only really hard and fast thing that we have to go on are your pledges. The rest of our anticipated revenues are our best guesses based on historical evidence or historical data that we have, and our hopes that, again, we'll be back to a more normal operations in the coming year and we'll have more participation. Our total contributions that we're anticipating are $325,448. We also have our miscellaneous income, which comprises things like Plato's lease payments, their utilities share, our amount that we get from Amazon Smiles, our free money that we receive quarterly from everyone shopping, and our DEMP distribution this year, which is $21,750. We have, with our $48,000 in reserve, an anticipated revenues this year of $491,300. And again, when looking at our expenses for the coming year, we go on an historical basis, we do a best guess, and we do account for some inflation. We did this year grant a small cost of living increase to both Father Peter and to Kevin, and we have a line item in anticipation of hiring our parish administrator. I'm sorry, just a moment. Those are only the real big increase this year was the parish administrator that we're planning for. Everything else is pretty much as we did last year, with, again, that little bit added for inflation. I think you'll all agree that the true mission of the church is our outreach, our care of each other, and our care of our wider community. With that in mind, we've pledged this year to give $12,000 in outreach. That is 4.5% of our pledged income. Again, as we're able, we'd like to give more, but that is what we have pledged that we are going to give. So all said and done, we have a $13,714 shortfall in our budget. We do have monies in reserve that we can access if we need to. Hopefully we won't. Again, if you have any questions at all, please see me, and I'll be happy to go over these things with you in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. As I have said in years past, the work of the treasurer is a heavy burden to carry the weight of the financial obligations that a parish this size has. We all know the anxiety and the sleepless nights we spend worrying about our own personal budgets. Hannah has the additional worry of the parish's budget. So I'm always grateful for those who are willing to step forward and carry that burden on behalf of this parish, and Hannah has done it beautifully, as did Lynn Lund before her. A couple of notes before we open it up for questions or comments. Hannah has been treasurer now for 2 years?
Yes.
And our hope this year is to find someone in the congregation who can be an understudy for Hannah and take over the position of treasurer in 2023. So if you are financially gifted with numbers and an understanding of budgets and would like to explore this, it's a great way to see how this position works in the life of this parish. You could work with Hannah for the coming year and see whether or not this would be a ministry that you could embrace in 2023 going forward. So if you are interested in that, please speak to Hannah or myself or to Scott, and we will make that happen. I wanted to also make a comment on our outreach. As Hannah mentioned, we are committing 4.5% of our pledged income to outreach. That's to organizations like the Homeless Empowerment Program, Feast Food Pantry that we support, Daystar, and other organizations in the wider community. This is in addition to the incredible generosity that you show on a regular basis, bringing in shelf-stable foods for Feast, donations to Homeless Empowerment Program, the rice bagging we do on a monthly basis that goes to Daystar. All of these efforts are in addition to the financial contributions we make and are a vital way that we as a community of faith have an impact on the wider community and live into the call to care for the least among us. So I'm grateful to all of you for your participation and support of those ministries. Are there questions for Hannah on the budget or on finances? Roxanne, if you'd come to the microphone in the center aisle here, and if you could remove your mask while you're speaking.
Sure.
Thank you.
So is it unusual, or Hannah, give us the past couple years, is it unusual we've had to dip into this much money of the stock account to bring in for expenses, everyday expenses? Is this, how far off is it? Do we ever have to do this before, or is it because of pandemic and no plate offerings? To kind of to have all of us understand, is this unusual and we should hope not next year, or is it kind of the way we're having to go every year?
Well, first, we did not dip into our stock monies.
Okay.
We did
Good.
decide to take the distribution this year rather than to reinvest it. And I believe last year was the first year that we reinvested. Is that not correct? In 2020, we did not have to dip into our money market fund, which is our operating reserve. That money is for us to use, and it's available without vestry approval, unlike the restricted funds that we have. It's there when we need it. And it is not unusual that we've had to dip into the money market fund in past years to meet our budgets.
Great. I just didn't know we ever had to do that before.
We
so
just
it
hope.
kind of.
We just hope and pray that will happen less and less.
Thank you.
As we get funds available, we pay back the money market account. So the money that's in there can gain interest. That's an intentional account to, it's not operating until we use it. So by putting it in that account, it's not subject to diocesan apportionment. So we get donations, we get whatever to the operating reserve, and it goes in there, and it's not part of income until we actually have to use it. So it was available. These kind of things make it available for the air conditioners. We've now replaced all but one air conditioning unit. I think we had 27 air conditioners on this property, and we've replaced all but one. So that was an expense we knew was going to happen. So we put things aside. We put money aside in an interest-bearing account to be available when we need it. And then once it goes into operating, then it's subject to apportionment, but it's not until that point. So it's just a very wise use of funds. So it can earn money until we actually have to use it. We have used operating reserve funds before. This was probably a bigger year than we've ever had, but it's a unique year. It's a very unique year. And we lost some larger givers. We've gained new people. And the congregation this morning was very nice. It was a nice amount of people. So as things get better, hopefully this will improve. The plate offering has dropped significantly. People are giving more online, people are giving more in pledge, but because we don't have people in the church in the pews, the plate offering is less than we're used to. So hopefully that all turns around.
So I would imagine we have figured out how to pay for the church administrator within our budget, although it says we're at a little bit of a deficit. Are we concerned about that?
Well, we're not going to search until mid-year. And that was intentional as well, to give the year the ability to start. So the parish administrator position is not budgeted until July, I believe, we start. As you know, a budget is just a picture in time. It's not real. I mean, that's not very nice to say, but a budget is not real. A budget is our best estimate. These expenses haven't happened yet. This income hasn't happened yet. So the hope is, as we grow, the income increases, and the folks in the finance world of this church have been very good at controlling expenses. We have controlled, our expenses have been below budget almost every month, except those capital expenses, and those don't go in operating, those are capital expenses. So we may not have this much of an expense, we may have more income. It all depends on, obviously you are the only source of income for this church, beyond rental income and all. So we have to work to use the funds we receive wisely, and grow programs that allow us to address these things. One of the things I want to help you understand is the Center for the Music and the Arts and the organ project. We have budgeted $150,000 to make the improvements to this building in preparation for the organ. That will offset other capital expenses that we might otherwise have to raise. That will be repairs of the dome, repainting of the church, repairs that are needed and we would have had to do anyway. So those funds in preparing for the organ will offset funds we would have had to raise in the future. So all these things are connected, and they will go to the benefit of the church in the long run.
Thank you.
Other questions? Valerie?
Actually, Roxanne asked the question that was foremost in my mind about the parish administrator. And something that I've never been totally clear about is when we take money from one particular fund to another, it then becomes live money, and then we have to pay a portion of that to the diocese, do we not? Mm-hmm. Yes,
Correct.
right.
Correct.
So I'm hoping and praying that organ fund doesn't fall into that.
It does.
It does.
It does. Yes, that's one of the things that we are preparing for. We will take a $1.2 million hit on the diocesan assessment in future years. For any capital improvement, there's two diocesan apportionments. There's operating and there's capital. They're both 10%. So you pay 10% of your operating expenses under the diocesan apportionment. You pay 10% of capital improvements. So there will be $120,000 diocesan apportionment that will come due over a period of time. I think it starts in 2023, that we will need to budget for. And, you know, we're thinking about that already, how we raise the funds to support that. I also personally want to meet with the CFO folks at the diocese, because I personally do not agree that capital apportionment should be in a lump. Mm-hmm. You never depreciate capital in 1 year. It's over a longer period of time, and why is the apportionment 10% all at once? It doesn't make sense. Whether I'll have any impact or not on that, I just really do not understand why capital apportionment is managed exactly the same way as operational apportionment.
Okay, well, that's helpful. And I had another question, but I got so excited about what you were saying about that I've just forgotten it. So I'll bring it up some other time.
We'll be here.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right. Again, our thanks to Hannah for her superb work as our treasurer and all that she does. Move to the appointment of our convention delegates this year. An important year in the life of the diocese, the life of this parish. Traditionally, our convention delegates are parish representatives at diocesan convention, so their duties are to attend the fall convocation in each deanery where the diocesan budget is presented. Any resolutions for the convention are also presented. And then to attend the diocesan convention in October or November, whenever it is scheduled, to vote as our parish representatives on resolutions and to approve the diocesan budget and to engage in the life of the wider church. This year, there are added responsibilities. We have an election coming up for a new bishop, coadjutor. The electing convention happens April 2nd, and there are some lead-up meet and greets of the candidates for bishop in the third week in March. So our delegates to convention have two conventions to attend this year, one in April and one in October, with additional prep work in March and September for those two conventions. So I have asked the following people to serve as our parish delegates. Lynn Lund will be serving as one of our delegates, Robert Adams, and Sandy Tuller. So we have representation from both services and folks with good history in this parish to represent our concerns at both the electing convention for the bishop coadjutor and our diocesan convention. Hannah Westcott will serve as the alternate to those any one of those three. So I want to offer our thanks to them in advance for their added work this year and faithfulness in this duty. Thank you. All right, I want to turn to our senior warden, Scott Garrett, for his report. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm not going to reiterate what the report I've provided you in the annual report. Instead, I want to speak on a little different line. I want to thank all of the people. Father Peter did somewhat already. I want to thank all the people who work tirelessly for this church to make it what it is. We can't do what we do without you all. And I really appreciate, and the vestry appreciates, we all appreciate very much what you do to make this happen. And I'd like to turn now to a poem. We've learned and grown much in the last 2 years. Amanda Gorman, the young poet laureate who spoke at President Biden's inauguration, she is wise beyond her years. And she just released a new poem at the beginning of the new year that I think is incredibly appropriate at this time. And so I want to share that with you. I was going to share just a portion of it, but there's no portion I wanted to leave out. So it's called A New Day's Lyric. May this be the day we come together. Morning, we come to mend. Withered, we come to weather. Torn, we come to tend. Battered, we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how we are weighed down, we must always pave a way forward. This is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it. To leave the known and take the first steps, so let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed, we will cure. What was plagued, we will prove pure. Where we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Those fortunes we forswore, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we're now awake. Those moments we missed are now these moments we make. The moments we meet and our hearts all together beaten, now all together beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit in a new day's lyric. In our hearts we hear it, for auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne. Be bold, sang time this year, be bold, sang time. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow we will find. Know what we fought need not be forgot, nor for none. It defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun, for wherever we come together, we will forever overcome. So now we move on to a new year as a parish family. We have much to be thankful for. We have and will talk a lot about the organ project. It's one of the biggest projects this church has ever undertaken. But it's much more than the building of a musical instrument of wood, metal, wires, and wind. It's an important step in the future of St. Alfred's, the future of each of us, and the future of those to whom we will bring the joy of music and worship. This is, however, just one piece in what will be a strategic plan yet to be fully developed to build on the past to help create the future. It's a big project. And some will ask, why are we doing this now? To that I say there is no better time. What better time to do something that says, we are creating our future path and plan on being here in 100 years. This parish needed a project. It needed a big one that took serious commitment and drive. A few months ago, we first saw the proposed cost and many of us thought, how can we possibly succeed? But we have. In a very short time, we have raised all but $185,000 of a $1.2 million budget. We're almost there. We have also committed to the establishment of the David Moore Center for Church Music and the Art, to grow and promote music and the arts and worship in our community, and to do our part to raise the next generation of qualified church musicians. This parish, more than most, can testify to the impact of a music program on the life of the church. For the next 12 months, my focus will be on the preparation of the church for the new pipe organ. There's much to be done to assure that we are ready when the organ arrives from Cassavant for installation. And you're all going to be kept informed as to each step as we go along. But there will be a lot of focus because we have a financial risk of not being ready. So we will be ready. Through the Organ Committee and Vestry, we'll also be preparing for the concerts and other celebrations for when the organ is installed. For now, we need to continue to raise the remaining funds to complete this project and lay the foundation for the Center for Music and the Arts. I ask each of you to consider what meaningful financial gift you can make to assure that this happens. To those who have already stepped up with gifts or pledges, we say thank you. It's an amazing thing that has happened in the past few months. This should be an all-parish project. And if you have any questions as you make your decision. Please do not hesitate to bring them forward. Also, in the very near future, the vestry will be establishing the board that will be responsible for developing the charter and processes for the Center for Church Music and the Arts. Much planning will need to be completed to assure that funds raised in that center are managed and distributed appropriately to meet the mission of that project. There's a lot to look forward to. Lastly, I want to thank all of you who are faithful members of this parish, those in the pews today and those who are joining us from afar. You are the people who make everything we do for each other and the greater community possible. Come over, join this day just begun, for wherever we come together, we will forever overcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Questions for the senior warden? Or comments? All right. I want to turn then to our junior warden, Dee Dee Herndon, for her comments.
Well, darn, I wish I didn't have to follow that. First of all, I just want to say it's been my pleasure to serve on the vestry for these past 3 years, and also this past year as your junior warden. In the past, the junior warden has taken on the responsibility of managing the property repairs at St. Alfred's. But in 2019, with the development of the property committee, the role of the junior warden has been evolving. It's been evolving into a position of the people's warden, in where we continue to define this position as one of being in tune with the needs, cares, and concerns of our congregation. And I know whoever's picked for the next junior warden is going to do a wonderful job for that. The rest of my comments are in the annual report, so you can read them there. But one thing I do want to encourage you all, since we are in such an exciting point in our church, if you are not involved in something, and I know so many of you I see out there are, but if you aren't and you're thinking about it, I really encourage you to join one of the ministries that may be calling to you. For myself, this has been an incredible time in the past 3 years. When I was asked to run for vestry, I was like, oh dear, no, not me, I can't do this. But it has turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful time in getting to know the different people and the friendships, and it's been so much more than any of the work that could be involved. So really, I know a lot of our ministries are looking for additional help. I'm going to just mention a few. I know Altar Guild. I know we need some acolytes for Sunday morning, ushers on Sunday. But all the ministries could use additional help, and it would just be wonderful. If you haven't gotten involved in something, please, please do get involved. You will be just so, it will just bless you so tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. A fine job following Scott's report. At this time, I want to share greetings from Plato Academy with all of you. We have in the past invited the principal of our local campus to greet us as a congregation on the occasion of our annual meeting. Some of you know that our relationship with Plato has not been always positive over the years. We have worked hard in the last several years to change that footing, to work more cooperatively and for the betterment of both organizations, and that is happening. So I share Greetings from Mrs. Amber Sipe, the principal of Plato Academy, in that spirit. Greetings to the parish of St. Alfred's. I am Amber Sipe, the principal of Plato Academy. I've been with Plato Academy for 11 years, 9 of them at Plato Palm Harbor. I am thrilled to be at this beautiful campus. I want to take this moment to thank a few important people for the garden, the property crew, the garden crew who maintains the attractive landscape. Thank you to Barb Christian, who brings us our mail and keeps us in the loop. To Marty and Alan, Marty Broward and Alan Kunkel for maintaining the buildings. And last but certainly not least, to Father Peter for your continuing communication. Appreciate the monthly meetings. The families are grateful for allowing us to utilize the sanctuary for our important events throughout the year. The students, staff, parents, and teachers at Plato Academy appreciate the positive working relationship that has been built over the years and look forward to many more years to ensure our shared facilities continue to serve us all well. We wish you all health and happiness in 2022. As always, I am an email, phone call, or better yet, a few steps away. Sincerely, Mrs. Amber Sipe, principal of Plato Academy. So we thank her for her good wishes and her commitment to continued good work together. Results of the election are already determined by our vote of acclamation for Scott, Jeanette, and Ginny. So we move on. I want to take this time to thank our 2 retiring vestry members. I have a tradition of offering them a gift as they step down from their work. So I want to invite Sue Broward, who has been in the broadcast booth today monitoring questions, if she would come forward to the table, and Dee Dee is already here to thank them both. Two remarkable women. Dear Sue, we are so grateful for all of the ways that you seek to care for the least of these, as Jesus called them, those who are hungry or lonely or cut off from the love of family or community. Your boundless compassion and commitment to serve others is an inspiration to us all and a wonderful reminder that we are all called to go and do likewise. My prayer for you is that in all of your acts of love and care for others, that you will feel the love and care of your Lord flowing into your heart, reminding you how deeply you are loved by God and all of us. Amen. Dear Dee Dee, your great gift of listening to the stories of your sisters and brothers, hearing in those stories both the joys and many challenges they face, and then responding to them with such love and care and action has truly been Christ-like. Not many know how many of your sisters and brothers you have helped over the last several years with everything from rides to arranging appointments to meals to navigating technology to simply being there to listen to another story. You are a gift to this parish and have offered us a wonderful model for the role of junior warden, the people's warden, as well as what it looks like to be a faithful follower of Jesus. May God continue to bless you in all that you do for the sake of your beloved parish community. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Dee Dee. One more reason to join the vestry, right? You get a wonderful thank you gift. Yes, Ann. Sure. The one I gave to Sue is called Feed the Wolf. It's a reflection on the life of St. Francis in his approach to being a disciple of Christ. And the one I gave Dee Dee is Becoming Wise, an inquiry into the mystery and art of living by Krista Tippett, who is a favorite podcaster of mine. So, Other business to come before this annual meeting? Any questions? Or Valerie, you remembered what you were going to say earlier.
Yes, I did. Do you have any, I suppose, best guess as to when we can continue or start up again with projects that may raise funds? So it's my post-choir voice, don't worry about it. And also when we're going to be able to go back to Reister Hall for coffee hour. It's very much missed, and we just don't know who our friends are anymore because they all go home after the service.
Right. You raise really important issues for us, Valerie. I wish I knew exactly when that would happen. I'm hopeful. I am encouraged by the way things are improving around here. Although I will say, over the last month, I have had more reports of either parish members or family members of parishioners who have come down with COVID. None of them severe cases, but they far outnumber the few cases we had in the prior 2 years of this pandemic. So clearly we're still at a place where we need to be wise and cautious, but it is my hope that within the next month or so that we can go back to coffee hour and Reister, which is such an important time in the life of this congregation, where we are able to welcome new members. We're able to put our heads together and share ideas and projects, just spend time together, which we all desperately miss so much. And likewise with special events, whether they're art fairs or whatever, to again provide fellowship, outreach to the wider community, and an opportunity to raise some additional funds. I hope to be able to begin those things again very soon. So. Any other comments or questions, other business to come before this annual meeting? If you haven't already picked up a copy of the annual report, it is available in the narthex on your way out. It's also available on our website, as well as the budget and financial report of our treasurer on the website, so available electronically. Anything else before I call this meeting to close and we stand to sing the Doxology? Kevin, would you be able to lead us in that? Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks
be to God.